Being 6:30, I'd like to call the Town Hall School Admin Building Committee to order. First item on the agenda will be a roll call. When I state your name, please state here. Diane Allen,
Here?
Kevin Kyra,
Yeah.
Joe Doherty, Jesse Finley.
Here.
Whoa, that was timing.
Like that. You don't have to say.
Jack Holloway,
Yeah.
Dennis Kelly,
Yeah.
Paul Malorani,
Here.
Paul Ruggiero, here, Glenn Brand, here. Steve Turner,
Here, and I'm not.
on time.
And I'm.
George Hooper, yeah. Great, thank you very much. I did send out the minutes, and with here is the minutes also. Yep, absolutely, another copy if anybody needs them. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Any discussion? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes from March 19th.
So moved.
Motion made by Diane Allen. Do I have a second? By Dennis Kelly. Roll call vote. Diane Allen,
Yes?
Kevin Kyra,
Yes.
Jesse Finley,
Yes, sorry.
quickly,
Yes.
Jack Holloway,
I wasn't here.
Dennis Kelly,
Yes.
Paul Millerani,
Yes.
Steve Turner,
Yes.
and George will be yes. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is discussion with the OPM to provide a project update, construction schedule, discussion on the budget.
We're still on schedule for our substantial completion at the end of October. So you're targeting that right now. The teams are working on the site right now to get the base coat done. They've been working on putting in all the lighting for the future light poles so that we can have the base coat down to the July 4th event that you have, which will be on that space. We'll be moving the fences and you'll be increasing the area for that space and then we'll be pulling the fences back. So,
I was gonna ask.
we had a meeting with, the July 4th committee, I don't know, 2 months ago, George, was it? Oh, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Told them that what we thought we could give them, they thought it was adequate. And they're working on that right now. As a matter of fact, we flew the drone for Consigli, P3 flew the P3 drone for Consigli so they could see some of the things
Everything done.
as they were going along. You know, sometimes when you're horizontal, you don't catch it all, so, the brickwork is about, I don't know, 15%
Before you
complete.
proceed with that, just because this is coming up, so all the Conex boxes and everything are gonna be moved aside. We talked about this, and we'll talk again tomorrow in our meeting. That it's gonna be moved back, and then they're gonna start the binder, so they can pave the parking lot. So it will be done and ready for the carnival.
It's awesome.
Yeah, just you didn't say clear enough, yeah.
That said pretty close.
I bet you did. I think with additional details, not clarity.
Right, maybe the additional detail.
What,
We were just
Conex
reading, right.
boxes? Really?
I was waiting to fill it
left out. One of you think-
Steve, I'm sorry, clearing the parking lot. And you didn't get that the Conex boxes need to be cleared to put.
Thank you, George. I really appreciate that.
Clean it.
That's not. Yeah.
It's one of the boxes that you'd see on a ship that they
Shipping.
shipping container. We bring them on site using.
Back at the 4th of July building now that was still.
So,
But I started to put it on operation.
Yep, yeah.
A more serious question, going back one step, the substantial completion late October, is that before, there's a major inspection that happens? Is that right after substantial completion for occupancy? Or are there other steps that have to happen, or what? Part of what I'm getting at is there something we have to schedule at that date that then is a period of weeks for inspection? What's the next step after substantial completion towards the
substantial completion, defined by Massachusetts general laws, there's two ways to get to it.
Yep.
One is to have a certificate of occupancy, which means that the safety systems in the building are all up and running, even if the floors aren't down and the doors aren't in, whatever, but it's a safe building for a human being to occupy.
Yep.
the other is that 99.9% of the contract has been completed. So they will be probably 92% complete. And they'll have the certificate of occupancy. We expect that between the 31st of October and the 31st of November, IT and furniture will be going in, and we'll be coordinating IT furniture to get all that work done. To get to substantial completion, we need to have all our inspections. We need to have final plumbing, final electric, final gas, final insulation, final framing, and exit signs and safety pathways, elevator inspection. All those inspections have to be in hand before we can even apply for certificate of occupancy. Does that answer your question?
That is exactly what I was looking for. Thank you very much.
You are.
So by
Very clear
November
this time.
thirty
Yeah,
first,
Did you get all that?
You have to,
November 31st, this will be all done?
November 30th,
Stop.
November 31st,
Stop. He's laughing for.
November 30th.
Thank you.
November 30th.
Gonna say, that's his way of saying this will never be done.
No, November 30th, November 30th.
that's why we're asking for
We
clarity.
should be done, to the point where people will, from Glen Street and people from the Roman House will start migrating, all right? The official move over date, yeah, could it be moved to the 15th of December because we're behind on something? Yeah, sure.
Mm.
But you'll definitely be having a Christmas party in this building. But then again, I said that about this building, we were off by a month.
Yeah, and then in the budget, is there something for like, I was thinking about it recently. Like a diamond relocation or someone to move all the boxes and the stuff that does have to go from, when you look at how much stuff has to move. And you still have to service the public out of the schools and the town hall, this is gonna be a really intense coordination of. Getting everything together for the
Well,
move.
George told me that you're gonna be doing all the moving.
Yeah.
Your public buildings typically do.
Yeah,
We'll do 4 different.
We will have enough money, Dennis, to hire a mover. We typically do that about 2 months before we move them.
okay,
We do it off state bid list, and about 3 weeks before the move, the actual move, they'll send boxes over with stickers. We'll give them a floor plan. They'll put a sticker, this box goes to room 415, get delivered to room 415.
And it's just basically boxes, because if
It's gonna be boxes.
F&E comes
Right.
furniture and file cabinets. all
And
that
their
stuff.
room numbers, everything's labeled, they will be delivered to the spot.
I based on the number of file cabinets, I think some of the file cabinets are moving too, because there's no way that they're packing it all, they're just.
Well, you do have all that, you do have the basement storage,
Storage
so
area,
I
yeah.
mean, the best thing. For all these guys to do, put everything in that basement storage and slowly migrate it out to their
As you
office.
need it.
But I'm not gonna tell the administration what to do.
So, I mean, not to jump all over, we do have an interim school superintendent that's gonna be starting on July 1st. So I know that, speaking with Glenn Brand on his way up, he did have a question, when would we be able to sit with the designer or some of this furniture, just in case there's some questions, I know the school department was asking.
So Phil is here for the specific purpose of furniture. But we'll get to Phil.
Don't ask me anything else.
Alright,
Thought your better half was.
I wanted to get through the construction part. Construction part. And
Okay,
budget
absolutely.
part.
That's why I said I
Then I
don't
was
wanna
gonna
check
toss it
the-
over to Phil.
This is interesting.
So. Budget wise, let's talk budget. So right now we have $660,153.63 in our contingencies.
Do you have a handout for them?
I handed them out.
Can I have one?
Does anybody get one?
I didn't know.
You can have this one. Thank you.
Kevin, do you have one?
Yeah. Did I just?
We have done 10 change orders.
It's on.
No, I don't know.
Ryan says,
You have a-
"So you
you have
took
a-
it
I
all
don't
off."
like these people.
You bet you have it memorized, don't you?
So we have 10, we have 10 formal change orders that have been signed.
I have a couple of them here.
Kevin, come on.
Didn't stop.
Fine. Fine.
Kevin's collecting them down there.
Must have stopped.
The wallpaper is helpful with them.
So, we have 10 formal change orders encompassing about 80 smaller changes, which is really good for a job this size. It's actually, we're doing pretty good. On the GMP side, we also have a contingency on the GMP side. And on the GMP side, we have 232,000. So combined, we have about $880,000 of unspent money to date. And that does include me transferring $70,000 to IT, which we had to do due to the fact that if we didn't get our orders in, it was gonna be 140,000. And, you know, as the IT was going and the tariff clock was going and all that nonsense, we thought we'd try and get everything executed as best we can. You had already authorized an additional 183,000 at the last meeting for the security upgrades that the administration wanted. So this additional 70,000 is for some of the AV that is necessary and some of the switches that are necessary to make the building to be completely up to date. There is not another need for IT at this point in time. John O'Neill has been a joy to work with. He's been coming to the construction meetings. He likes to make sure that he's covered. And Ken Lord has been to the meetings that he's needed to come to. WCTV is fully covered. Kevin, you're gonna have a complete automated system in between both meeting rooms so that they can go in between the two meeting rooms and televise. So the selectmen's meeting room or the school committee meeting room, whatever was occupying at that time, and the main meeting room are gonna be automated by WCTV. So we really have got it nailed down. Wow. Right? We also, you had also authorized us to go back to the GFRC and put the slate back in. As we were buying out the project, we did a really good job buying out the project. We've kept the change orders really to a minimum, so that allowed us to upgrade the main floors and the corridors to something more robust than a ceramic tile. And the exterior of the building, instead of having cement board, is gonna have glass reinforced concrete, which is moldable, and it's gonna make all the parts and pieces along the top of the building really pop like the drawing shown. So every single thing that we put in this original, even though we cut it back, if you remember, we cut back and we value engineered and everybody kind of got agitated and we put it all back.
That's
You know, we told you we thought we would be able to do that as we were going through construction. If P3 could hold the line with the contractor, and we have. And the quality of the construction from Consigli has been excellent. The brickwork is going up, you can see it going up now, it's excellent. The window systems are top notch. And all of the interior finishes are now cherry. We originally had birch that was stained cherry, and believe it or not, the cost to do natural cherry urethane was almost the same as staining birch, because of the extra staining costs to stain it. So we put in what it deserves to be.
The point on those windows that you're talking, in the window walls that are in there, those are Lockheed windows, correct?
I
Well, they're
don't remember.
window
I think they're EFCO.
And they're
EFCO's the best.
Yeah,
Lockheed's a EFCO supplier.
right.
I mean, EFCO installer.
Same thing that we used over at the Shawshene School many years ago, remember? And we've never had any issue with that particular project.
We haven't had an issue for 10 years, have we?
It's been at
10
least
years,
10
right?
years, at least.
More than 10.
Yeah,
14 years.
yeah, it's been a long time.
I remember his brother yelling at me when it was 2 weeks ago and it was still plywood in the front of
Pointing out it was a very good business.
You can get this done, my grandkids going in. And he was right, but we got it done. So, with 2 days to spare, I had him. Alright, so, we're in good shape. We'll start, Mike will start talking to you, Dennis, about moving. And taking an inventory about moving in probably about a month.
Okay.
Alright?
Yeah.
Furniture wise, the design of the furniture is by the designer. And that's something that we all chose to do, and we also agreed that the furniture would be interchangeable between the schools and the town hall. Schools aren't getting anything different than the town hall, the town hall's not getting anything different from the schools.
Perfect.
In case the schools have less people and furniture needs to go downstairs, or the furniture needs to go upstairs. Either way, it'll all be the same furniture. With that being said,
Yeah, so things
you're
like,
out.
movable tables for conference rooms and stuff like that, and stacking chairs. Pretty much gonna be the same throughout the building is what we're suggesting. So the documents, OSO Interiors has pushed it a little bit further than we had originally thought they were going to at this point. Documents they have right now, actually with Dynamite, they've got a lot of the preliminary selections made that they're going to make a recommendation upon. And then they have actually populated the drawings around the perimeters of the floor plans with images of all the things, so it's kind of one-stop shopping. We're right at the point now where we'd like to have some preliminary meetings with folks. So that we can have some, we were originally gonna go around and just talk to folks with our plans. But after looking at them, OSO Interior said, okay, did a pretty good job, but a lot of this kind of stinks, so they just went in there, and so the desk thing that we use in all the offices and the stacking chair that we use aren't really the right size. We have some kind of standards that we use all the time. And so they wanted to go in and populate the plans with all the stuff that they're recommending, so that you can see what the actual size of all these things are and how it works. And they've got the plans looking great, so now we're at the point where we'd like to have those preliminary meetings, and the idea was that we were gonna meet with the folks in leadership at the schools and then town administration. And then take the cues from them about whether or not they wanted us to go talk to other folks, department heads and so forth, to kind of get into the nitty gritty. And
Any suggestion?
we're pretty much ready to do that.
Town administration first,
Fine.
cause it's 2 floors.
Yeah, well, yeah, makes sense.
Well, also, you have to be kind of aware the school's out June 16th, and I'm just trying to think about what's happening in the Roman house and what the staffing.
And you got a new superintendent that starts in July.
Correct. So
And now,
we might wanna meet with, well, that's an.
Well, it's a good question, should,
we were gonna talk to, Paul just said, just talk to me.
yeah,
And it didn't really matter what.
Yeah, he's leaving in November, so.
yeah, so I think we stick with Paul, cause he's gonna be the continuity
Yeah,
between the old and the new.
that would be my suggestion.
Yeah.
And he works a full calendar year.
Yeah, he doesn't take summers off.
Yeah,
Certainly you can, certainly include Glenn or include Dr. Thompson, the interim superintendent, but Paul, I think is.
Right, we'll have him come over to one of our construction meetings to our weekly, just so we can start to have some conversation on this.
Okay,
he has to pick out his hot tub, right?
is that the
That's
best,
already been picked out.
is that the best place to have that meeting? Before or after the? Is that the best way to have that meeting? Does the town manager come to the job meetings?
No,
No,
So, all right, so I'll reach out to you two then.
Yeah.
Set this
We'll
up
set something up.
with the town manager, and then we'll go do it with Paul.
Okay.
And let Paul wants to go, but I imagine Paul's just gonna want me. Instead.
He
Okay,
just has to walk across the street, so.
all right.
and if he doesn't walk across the street, I'll go there.
All right. We good with
That's
that?
all I have.
And were we doing any of the AV, any of the IT equipment we're gonna discuss? I know we've gone over some of that.
So, really, I just wanted to let you know that I had moved 70,000.
Okay.
If you guys don't want me to, then we have to cut something out, and I don't think you wanna do that.
No,
This
we
is,
have the contingency.
this is a complete all-inclusive, and we have so much left in contingency, it's not like we're wasting money here. This is just, we would have hit the budget to the dollar if we bought it a year ago.
Right,
But if you remember, I advised all of you not to buy IT to the end. Because it gets outdated in a year.
right.
So unfortunately, we got this
Cost
whole
escalation.
thing going on with trade. That, we pulled the trigger.
We have been working closely with both school and town IT.
Yep.
Thanks to your point with John O'Neill.
Yep.
It's been very,
Ken Lo too.
he did send me something, I'll read it in. front, he's like one major point. The AV equipment and these costs for the meeting and hearing room in this area. For this project will impact the residents directly who may not even be able to step into the new town hall. This equipment will not only be providing the community with a much better quality picture and sound for the board and committee meetings, but will also provide better accessibility for these meetings through the wireless hearing loop and closed caption.
So we are setting up for closed captioning, which is not a requirement yet, but we know it's coming, but we're setting up for it, all right? The other thing, just to tell you the dedication of your staff, and this is really important. As we were going through the designers thing, I don't take this the wrong way, Phil.
My feelings never hurt.
Okay. I hated Phil's design for the big meeting room. I didn't like the AV, I didn't like the drop down screens and the throw cameras and all that stuff. Those days are over. I asked George and I had asked John O'Neill to meet me in Taunton. So we're doing a pretty sizable job in Taunton. And our meetings are in the Taunton City Hall, and it's the perfect meeting room I've ever been in, and I've been doing this for 35 years, so, okay? It's the perfect meeting room. And we are emulating that meeting room. It's awesome. All right,
Yeah, it's
and
beautiful.
John, I wanna say that I think John went down grudgingly. Until he got there, and then he talked to their IT guy, and they started doing the IT to IT thing, and they were talking about stuff that we had no idea what they were talking about. Gigabytes and megabytes, all sorts of stuff. But they all bought into it, and I think you're gonna really, really like what we're doing. So.
Very good.
One quick question. You mentioned earlier the idea of being able to potentially fund the moving costs. Was
Just
that-
for the town side.
but was that a contingency or is that in another line item already?
Well, it depends on some of the line items, you know, we can move around, like, we had money in for mitigation. And it looks like we dodged the bullet on mitigation, so there's I could take it out of mitigation, I could take it out of contingency. It, as long as we don't overspend, that's really the key. You know, the internal transfers, we track every dollar.
Just one clarification, and my feelings aren't hurt, by the way. We did recommend flat screen televisions in those rooms.
True.
And we had a specific request to put in projectors and projection screens. That's why we did it. That came from town. They changed their mind afterwards because it's damaging.
Oh, blame me, if that's what you want.
No, they made the right choice because Dan's encouraged. No,
He did, he had a screen like this. But that's not big enough for the room we're building.
Right.
Right? How big is the screen in there?
Via Wilson.
There are 9 screens, right?
Nine screens that make one.
Beautiful.
Okay.
that'd be fantastic.
It is gonna be fantastic.
So that means we can watch 9 football games.
We can have card games, we can do betting, there's all sorts of things we can do.
Red zone.
Can I ask if, going all the way back to the beginning, if substantial completion is anticipated at the end of October?
Yes.
At what point do we get to go in and see it?
I think it'll probably be proper for a tour probably around Labor Day.
Okay.
I don't think going before Labor Day is really gonna give you what you need to see.
Sure.
Right now, construction wise, all of the rough-ins are completed on all 3 floors. The drywall is completed on the first floor, except for the meeting room area.
Yep.
The second floor is about 80% complete. The third floor hasn't started.
Sure.
So after all the drywall goes in and they start to tape and then they start putting some primer on the walls, the millwork is gonna come in. And you're not gonna get a feel for the corridors and for the stations that we designed for the clerk and for Park and Rec
All right.
until that millwork gets in. So you're not gonna get a real good feel for the building, in my opinion, until that stuff's in. And I'd say that'd be just about after Labor Day.
Perfect.
It was the same thing we did for this project.
Right.
Yeah, we
Yeah, I
did the
just
same
wanted to
thing.
clear out what the timeline was. for
I mean,
so.
we can always schedule earlier, but you're gonna be looking at stuff.
It'll be a
Yeah,
meeting.
no,
scheduled.
You're not gonna get, but you know, enjoy it.
School department's got the best floor. I've been in the,
Yeah,
well, let me tell you.
they got a hot tub up there, I mean, we.
Well, it's good. It is really, really,
The views of Winter Conference
the
is-
view is, thank you for it.
You can see all
It's
the kids
unbelievable.
smoking in the courtyard.
Oh, jeez.
They don't
do that anymore.
Oh, they
No,
can't do that
they-
anymore?
No.
They vape now.
They vape.
They don't do that either.
either.
No? All right, next item on the agenda, discussion for the dance
Steelers, I'm sorry.
interior design change for the accounting office.
So I was hoping to have that for today. It's gonna be an extensive amount of money, probably about $100,000.
So I'll
To
kind of
add,
explain this.
I'm gonna explain it. Just let me do it and then you can back me up. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
And so, on the plans, on the second floor and the third floor, all the floors are relatively the same. They're divided pretty similarly, especially in the corners. On the first floor, accounting had more open offices and one less closed office. And the request from the administration was to add a closed office, but the request has come late. And all of the HVAC is already installed, and for us to change it out, I gotta literally take down these cassettes that you see here and rework it, repipe it, and reprogram them. There's a lot to it. I gotta add a door, I gotta add, lighting, change lighting. There's a lot to it. I mean, it's taken the designer almost a month to design it, because that's how far along we are on the interior of the building. So we're expecting to get those sketches from the architect either this Thursday or Friday. To get priced up, but I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be $100,000
For an office.
for an office.
And the request came in, I understand it, and the time to do it would be now, just to get it done, because doing it after the fact is gonna be even more costly.
Well, you wouldn't be able to control heat. You would,
Right,
there's so much you couldn't do if you don't do it now.
correct.
So if it's a necessity, now's the only time you can do
I think the question is it a necessity?
That was gonna be my question.
The question is it a necessity?
What, I guess, what's the thinking from, maybe you know this, George, but what's the thinking from the town side to add an office now? Why wasn't it added at the beginning? Like, what, has something changed? Is there a new position? Is there, like, what's different?
Well, we did go through for all the programming for each department when we threw, and truthfully, that department has changed quite a few times.
Fair.
We have different president, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they did come in with the justification of payroll, and of course, it's confidentiality, people have different things that are going on, so. To add the wall to the alcove to create the office, okay.
The walls are not,
It's
the walls are nothing burger, the doors are nothing burger. We can do that for $10,000.
And has,
It's the fact that I need to add air, I have to
And this
add
came-
fresh air, I have to add controls,
Yeah.
lighting, switching,
Yeah.
data has to change. It's a lot of work.
has the footprint of their section changed?
No,
The footprint hasn't changed.
footprint's the same.
And do we know I don't even know the reason. I mean, is there a new hire coming that we don't know about? What is the purpose of this and why wasn't, or why isn't the town manager here to explain it to this committee as to why he wants an additional office, or at least the Stephanie, the head of accounting? I don't get it.
Well, we haven't dealt with any of the department heads at these meetings. As we were designing the building, we had a different administration. As you were.
Right,
Yeah, all right.
but the new town manager started some time ago now.
Right,
So this could have been done way back in July.
this came from him, this is his request, so he came
Yeah,
through,
the
so,
cameras was his request and this was his request.
right. So we were already into the whole process of building design.
Just from an accounting background, the idea of only having one office in accounting section sounds like a miss from whoever.
There's not one officer.
Well, you said there was one, they're gonna add a second one, right?
No, there's two. There's
They're
two,
gonna add a third.
and there's a bullpen.
Yeah.
With 2 or 3 people out in the main space, and this is an alcove that currently houses a printer. And I don't even know if there's a workstation in there.
So you have the,
There's not a
then
workstation.
you have payroll, and then there's the,
And
So this is a third office.
third closed door
And
office.
so-
Okay. I mean,
How big is it? I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah,
Steve, I'm sorry.
yeah.
It would be the same as the office that's above it in
It's somewhere
And
between
the town managers.
120 square feet. It's a standard office size, might be a little
10 by
bit
12,
more,
10 by 12.
somewhere in there. yeah.
Did it say what its use was going to be for? So we-
I forget
You said there's accounting, then there's payroll.
Right, and I
and
don't know if. it
The person
benefits.
account, one of the people
HR.
that does some HR and accounting, and then the other person doing the accounting and stuff, so, I believe there were, like, there's an office by the window, then there's, call it an L, and then an office in this corner, and they wanna put a wall between that office and the one up front. And have that additional office, but they are doing HR stuff as onboarding and, some other things, but, you know, I just,
They also have
More of a-
auditors.
Is it more of a conference?
They don't need to.
No, it's an individual
individual
office.
office.
I'm not sure which personnel are going to be in it, but it was identified by
Yeah.
Stephanie at the time.
Well, I can't give you what the cost is. I think it's gonna be 100 based on what we've got. The real issue is, so that is a heating and air conditioning cassette, okay? It's designed for the square footage of this room. So imagine the open area. We have two cassettes in that open area, designed for that open area. All right? That alcove doesn't have a cassette because the open area includes the alcove. So now when I add a room to the alcove, I have to make the cassettes that are in the ceiling and the open area smaller. And the cassette, I have to add a cassette into this room here, the alcove. I gotta add a door, I gotta add a fresh air makeup line. Because the cassettes are just heating and cooling, fresh air comes different. So fresh air comes through the ERV on the rooftop, so. It's just a lot of work. Right? And we'll do it, tell us to do it, you have the money, you wanna spend the money, it's your money.
Originally, when we talked about it too, the assumption was like 50,000 in the first construction meetings. And,
Well, we haven't gotten the.
but that was the estimate back then when we first started talking to Eric again more. I think this was actually talked about for when Mike Morris was leaving and, came back. And, there was question on whether they needed that office or not. And then when Stephanie come in, the ball was already rolling on it. So I'm not sure where and how it started, but, I think that's how it happened. We did, for a bunch of the meetings, we said the number 50,000, thinking it was gonna be around there. Now you're saying 100, which may be another conversation.
I know this much, I've already spent 1,800 on it just for the design.
Yeah, so,
You said you need to come back to us later with the final design and final numbers, right?
Anything over, I think the policy that we passed was anything over 50,000, we come back to this board.
As part of that, whether or not he's here or not in person, I defer to the others, could we just have kind of more of a summary as to why? And so we have, just to have a full picture, both the why and the how much and the how.
So on my side, I don't care about the why.
I know you don't,
I don't.
I'm asking him more than you.
That's an internal Wilmington thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
I care about getting it done.
Yeah.
My job's to get it done, and I wanna get it done for you, I don't want that date to slow.
Yeah.
And I'm running out of time.
It sounds to me as if it's already a done deal, right? Because you've already gone to the designer and you've already.
I asked the designer to design it because I had a request from the administration to design it, it was under 50,000 to have it designed, I have that authorization to do that. So I'm trying to fulfill the administration's wishes,
I get
get
it.
it designed, get it priced, but that doesn't mean we do it.
You need this
Right.
committee to
We
approve.
need this committee to approve it.
Are you? do you
And that's
want
our
that
discussion
tonight?
today.
I don't, it doesn't matter to me whether we do it tonight or whether we do it in a month, to be honest with you. The ship has sailed on it, cause the equipment's already installed.
Yeah.
Adding the wall later, it's not gonna matter.
Right,
It just has to be done before you open, so we can get the controls balanced.
and that was the purpose of the agenda item tonight,
Yeah.
for discussion.
I wanted everyone to know it was coming.
We're not voting on it, we're not.
and again, the assumption between people, I think a lot of people, not involved in this, was, you know, I wanna close up that area there, I'm gonna put up a wall. No one's thinking about sprinkler heads, lighting, light
Right.
switches, thermostats, cassettes, so, and then we start talking
I
about.
forgot about sprinkler heads, we're gonna move sprinkler heads still.
So you add all those things up, and then to do that, someone's now gonna redo the drawings and redo all that. So all that adds up quick, so I still think people, whether it's Eric or Stephanie, don't know what the number is, because again, we said maybe 50, now we're saying maybe 100. So I think we go back to them with 100, they may say, you know what, I don't wanna keep moving forward, but that's a discussion.
And this is
we can
the
have.
purpose of the programming, when the designer came in to go
Yeah.
each of us, so we would avoid this. And then by doing something like this, we don't want another department go,
Well,
well,
they got that.
can I have one here? Because, you know, John will do fine if he has his own.
I can see Jesse doing that immediately. The schools need a wall. You guys got a wall, we want a wall.
No, but again,
I mean, again, I don't have a problem if it can be justified.
Right.
I mean, there has to be a reason, and we should know what that reason is, because it's been designed in a certain way with the individuals who have been in that
So-
position. And things have changed, granted, there's been a new town manager, a new finance director, but.
Well, to your point, once we have that number, and we're gonna have our meeting, and we have our TM and our accounting.
I think that's fair. Yeah,
Absolutely,
we can hash the whole thing out.
yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, ultimately, I can see us saying, okay, to it, but.
But to your point,
They
what's the
need to
reason?
tell us.
Yeah, but there's accountability involved here, so.
Okay.
it's now or never.
To be honest with you, I think it's more complicated than just saying do it.
Mm.
Cause you're giving up printing space that's been designed for that area. Filing space that's been designed for that area. It's not as simple as just adding a wall.
That's true.
There's a whole design that went into that filled in. I think, I personally think that it was don't take this the wrong way, George, I think it was a rush decision and we're carrying out orders. All right, and I think it needs to be thought out a little longer before you execute, but it's your money,
No,
your
that's-
building.
That's a good point,
Right.
because then where does those,
Where do those functions
printers go, those functions, where does the filing
I
go?
gotta move those data ports, I gotta move that outlet.
Yeah, I mean, but where do they go? When they need to get something, they go outside their office and wherever
Yeah,
they
that's,
go down.
that's
the
gonna be
hall.
the solution. Some of the files, the active files they have in their office will end up moving into
Oh,
the storage. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
They'll have less active files in their
And
space.
to your point, have you told the town manager that, have you told the accountant that about this type of infrastructure?
We don't meet with department heads,
Okay,
okay? I take my direction from George Hooper.
okay.
The town manager doesn't come to our meetings.
So,
Town manager went to George and said, George, can you do this? So it wasn't an unreasonable request.
Yep.
We took a look at it.
so we're gonna get the number for that, and what I would say, when we do come to meeting, we'll have that detail. We'll have the original and then the design, and we'll take a look at it.
But
And then-
I thought we met with department heads to get an understanding of what they needed,
Oh, we have,
the
that's appropriate.
space they needed.
That's appropriate.
Right.
Okay, so we did, you know, someone.
I didn't meet with him.
No, someone did.
Phil met with him, back 2-3 years ago when we were designing the space. And don't forget, all of the space is designed to accommodate a little bit of growth. So I'm kind of taken aback that we need an office.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and if you go back 3 years ago, it was Brian Perry and his team, then it went to Mike again, then now it's back to, so somewhere between Brian Perry and Mike was when the original discussion of an extra office came up, but then it kind of went stagnant, and then I don't know.
It came from the town manager's office,
Okay.
that's where it comes from.
Yep.
So does the town manager understand what some of the drawbacks are gonna be, what they're gonna give up for this?
That'll be the point of
That'll
discussion.
be the.
Yeah, I don't think we've shared anything, because we really didn't have the drawings or the dollar amounts, so
But are you gonna have
without
that-
those, you can't really make an educated decision,
Right,
so you have
And
that.
to George's point, George said, look. It's late, but we probably caught it in time. Let's see if we can get it in. Yeah, we can get it in. We can make the date. We can get this done.
Right,
But it is gonna, at this point, it is gonna require taking things down.
Yeah.
And things that we've already paid for. As opposed to just moving walls, right? And in our business, we don't pay for things twice. You've been in the meetings, Diane.
yeah.
If something had to be paid for twice, where did it come from? It came from the designer. So, we don't take it the wrong way, Phil.
But George, you said that we're gonna have that discussion, is that discussion gonna happen before we come here and vote?
once we have,
Once we have a number, we'll call a meeting.
A number, a drawing, and what the
A meeting
cause and
of this-
effect is.
Yes.
And the reason,
Yeah, and then you can sit
And
down
I'm sure
and
once I have the
I'm
demo,
not gonna say, you know what, you're not gonna believe this, but it's only $23,000. We're not gonna call a meeting, we're gonna do it.
and I'll have a discussion with the manager beforehand.
Right.
Okay, just so everybody knows.
But I'm gonna tell you, it ain't gonna be cheap. There's 7 trades involved. File sub-bid trades. Prevailing wage.
concern is the work product. You know, my concern is the work product, the files,
Oh, when I say files, Kevin, I don't mean that there's gonna be 20 file cabinets that have.
No, I get it.
It's gonna be one or two things.
And once you see the area, so you take a look at it, you're like,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, we're not talking huge
No,
lots of
no.
file cabinets, but again, when you add up everything, people wanted a wall and a separate office, never knowing what this was, and we've never presented pricing, design, the cause and effect, and put it against what the reasoning behind it is to evaluate it properly. And I think we need all that. And I think if we said that Eric and Stephanie, it's $100,000, they may say it's not that important. If they say it's 50,000, they may say it's not. I don't know. We've never shared
You
the
don't
number.
know.
They made a request to George. We've come this far, but they've never got what that meant. You know, besides, again, you can throw up a wall right here and you go, oh, that's easy. Except all those other things that you don't think about.
Right, it could be a cubicle petition later, it could be something else
Yeah.
farther on down the line, so.
When we talked about a 3/4 wall with a door, but the way
If you
these
did a
systems
three,
work,
if
the
you did a
flow,
3/4 wall, I don't have to change any of the HVAC.
yeah, but it's still, the flow of the room that was designed to do changes.
It will absolutely change the flow of the room. And I'm not questioning that they don't understand the flow of the room, they know their business, I'm not questioning that.
And that puts it,
I'm
that off-
questioning the fact that when we designed it, the flow of the room worked for that design.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like we're late to the party on this one.
Okay.
Alright, so you'll still get the number for us, we'll
Yeah,
have
of
the
course.
discussion.
And when we have that meeting, do you think we can have like just a schematic of like a before and after?
Yeah, that's exactly, I said the layout,
Yeah.
with a
Okay.
detailed design.
Yeah. We'll get you the SKs of what it is today.
Yeah.
And what it will be. Do you wanna see it completely sheet rock? Cause it's sheet rock.
Can you just put one of those metal boxes up there?
You want us to put a Conex box up there?
Box right there, please, yes.
We left the Conex box up there, and we want less box.
On the side of the building, it's got a hole.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Alright, that was the last item that I have a discussion on the agenda. Anybody else have any questions or?
Wasn't the accounting office gonna be near the town manager's office too?
They're on the first floor.
They're
counting
all
the
counting-
lower right corner.
The first floor, you have the clerk,
Counting's next to treasurer.
yeah, you have
Next to-
treasurer,
Yeah, so
Okay.
below the
Alright.
system.
they're all on the first floor.
All on those are on the first floor, and the back part's all the storage,
Yeah.
yeah.
but we
yes,
can probably change that if you want.
yes. No, no, I went through
Up
it.
on the
I
third
went-
floor,
Yeah, no, I went through it and, I didn't open my mouth at all.
Sure, you guys don't wanna walk. Several, apparently.
Yeah.
Speak now, forever.
Yeah,
alright, last item on the agenda with no more discussion would be motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I mean, at the last meeting I attended, the person brought,
That was our
are
last
you gonna
meeting,
give the candies
that was our last
for
meeting,
anybody? Oh, okay.
that was appreciation.
Kevin, your candy's
Man, we
waiting,
were expecting you to bring those to our last meeting.
Yeah,
your candy's waiting for you to come in.
wow. Alright, so I had a motion made by Paul Millerani, I have a second
Second by
by.
Jesse. yeah,
When I read your name, just, Diane Allen,
yes.
Kevin Kyra,
Yes.
Jesse Finley.
Yes.
Jack Holloway.
Yeah.
Dennis Kelly.
Yeah.
Paul Millerani.
Yes.
George Hooper, yes, Steve Turner.
Yes.
Alright,